Hello, my dearest. It's me, Bree, at Cryptic Tales of Tarot. Thank you for coming back to my show if you're here. But if not, hello. I know we just passed the new moon in Capricorn. Hope you guys are okay. Because Capricorn is, work, work, work. Um, if there's been any projects that you're working on, go for it. Keep doing it. That's for the good collective out there. Because you see, I've been doing lists of names of the coven and what they've done, but keeping privacy with just giving the initials, first names only, and what they did. Okay, some of these names for you may ring a bell. Because there's so many similar names of Lisa or a Jackie or, a Brianna, shit like that. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting, because when I say, because I know the coven's watching me, I'm not stupid, the opposition is watching me. When I say that I was definitely putting all the pieces of the puzzle together with the people involved in this shit, I wasn't fucking around. And this list in particular talks about the people that were stomping on the money like no one's business. And the ironic part is that most of them were women. Ooh. And by the way, I started this video, it was like, what, 333? So pay attention to all the synchronicities that you see. Like the other day I saw 888 and then 9999, and I've been seeing 555 and 444 a lot. So, anyways. Whew. Oh, oh, I just said 222 here. And 242 over there on my timer. Number 49. This is insane. The initials are TK. The name is Tammy. She's got long blonde hair and a dark high priestess. She's very skilled with her talents, especially when it comes to keeping me in poverty. Okay, this has been constant. I think Tammy enjoyed watching me suffer. Okay, and I think she did a lot of the magic on her own, but sometimes if she needed help, she would pay a practitioner for help somewhere in South America. Because in South America, there's a lot of practitioners of all kinds out there. And so in addition to this, when it comes to cursing my money, she used two different strategies. The first one was by doing a freezer jar spell. And this included, taking a picture. I'd take a picture of me and putting it in a jar and then adding water and white vinegar. Okay, and then it's putting a few strands of my hair in it, because there was a time when Amy and I colored our hair together. And Amy could have given Tammy some pieces of my hair. And I think Tammy added in graveyard dirt along with all kinds of spices, such as hot sauce, Cajun hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce, black pepper, etc. On another note, I think she put an extra dash of evil by adding animal bones, sulfur, and possibly her own urine too, and then stuck the bitch in a freezer. The second technique, I think she used a voodoo doll of me and put wads of cash on it. But instead of using pin needles, she got her husband or some other guy to help her hammer a bunch of flathead screws into the cash, and then she put it on her altar. Number 50. A.B. First name is Amy. She and I were very close friends for the past 3 years. That I even called her Auntie Amy. However, that couldn't be farther from the truth. She ended up being a total hidden enemy. And when I found out, I was devastated. But when I was putting the pieces of the puzzle together, it all made perfect sense. I'll tell you how. This little story here is insane. And so I'm saying this because there was a time where we got into a conversation about spirituality and the occult. And we shared personal info with each other about the craft. I admitted that I was a white witch only, but she said that she was both a good witch and a bad one. At that moment, I knew that I better never piss her off in any way, so I tried my damnedest to be a good friend. I mean, come on. There was a reason why I called her Auntie Amy. When we talked about magic, she gave me hints or shortcuts about how to use the tricks of the trade when it came to certain spell work. However, seeing as how she was also a bad witch, I would look this shit up on the internet and decided not to take the advice. Because, I know that there's a lot of people in the coven out there, especially the newbies, that were trained on how to do certain magic, but when you're a newbie, you haven't mastered certain skills yet. You really gotta work at it hard and practice it a lot. And if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, then you shouldn't be getting involved in that. Well, with this, some of the shit, that I was looking up on the internet, I wasn't gonna do it because I don't fucking know everything I'm doing. 808 on the timer. Let's see. Anyway, one day, me and Amy decided to dye our hair together. We dyed it red. But little did I know, this was Amy's only chance to steal some pieces of my hair to give it to Tammy so she could put it in a freezer jar spell. Of course, I didn't know what was going on at the time, but when I found out, I knew that I had to take action quickly. I mean, with the quickness and start using all kinds of protection and defensive magic. This was the part, that really hurts, but I want to say one thing before I get into that part. Unfortunately, with these people, not just me, but the whole collective, it sucks that we are currently having to live by the motto of trust no one because there's several covens out there all over the world that have been attacking people and using all kinds of fucking strategies. And it's sad that, trust no one I wish that we didn't have to live that way. But I think by getting the word out and being whistleblowers, we're gonna get people arrested much faster and just start fresh with normal people who don't think like sociopaths or have really bad intentions for others. I mean, 'cause shit, back in our parents' generation and their parents' generation, they actually wanted to help each other. It's just, say what you mean and mean what you say. There shouldn't be any hidden or alternative motives. And, some people, that don't have good intentions for you, they overthink shit of what people are saying. Sometimes, and especially the tone of how they say it. And it's like, dude, sometimes just take it for what the fuck it's worth. I said what I said and that's it. Don't overthink shit. And that's what a lot of people in the coven did, especially the karmic masculine. And, how does this relate to Amy? Because she definitely had to pay attention to what I was saying and how I was saying it so she could relay the info back to the opposition. Anyways, she and I did party together. That was back when I was living a toxic lifestyle. And I was a lost soul, man. Because, me and the divine masculine had broken up. Not gonna lie, my father, his dementia had turned into Alzheimer's. And it was just a chaotic household that, I used alcohol as a substance, to just numb the pain. And I know that I'm not the only one out there who's done that. So, how do I say this? At first, I think Amy was my friend, but then seeing as how much time we spent together, she became a setup and relayed all the info of my life back to the coven at that time, which I was struggling my ass off with my finances. It never been so fucking broke. And can't tell you how many times I went to her house to take a temporary break from all the chaos that was going on at my house. So that tells me that the coven was doing chaos magic and sending it to my house, to drive me crazy and shit. And then giving me or wanting me to go to Amy's house, not just as a breather from bullshit, but, I legitimately wanted to hang out with her as a friend. But they were looking at it as, oh, we can, use this against the feminine, have a lot of chaos and arguments in the household to the point where she wants to leave her house and go somewhere. And when people, start losing their shit from too much chaos, they usually go to their friends' houses to vent, take a breather, or to the park or whatever. You get the point? So, anyways, whew, however, I'm like, it didn't matter if I went to her house for a breath of fresh air just to hang out. I thought that she was an excellent friend with a heart of gold. And remember how I've said that I think a few smidgen of people feel sorry for what they've done, and then the others were, woohoo, you know? I think Amy was one of the few who feels sorry for what she did because she knows the truth and that I'm innocent. And I hate to say it, but um, I think Amy might be going to jail. On another note, this was really ironic to me. There were plenty of times when I went over to her house, and I could just see the depression in her eyes from how much she missed her husband, Richard, okay, whom she loved deeply. And he died a very tragic way. But I loved listening to her stories about how he was a former band member of Nocturnus. And of course, that's not the whole full name of the band. But my karmic masculine, Josh, just so happens to play for that band now. To me, that's a bit doo 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 doo, or you know what? It's a matter of somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody with 1717 on the timer when I said that. That's what this has been. Like I said, the Death Magic Mafia Coven project here. Like a mafia, total organization. And I don't want any trouble with mafia shit. I'm just saying. It's about people who know people who know people. And that is how the karmic masculine Josh was able, to weasel his way into the band. And on another note, I had noticed that there were several times when I went to Amy's house, I would randomly get tired. Didn't know why I would randomly get tired. And then I would end up passing out on the couch, for like a quick nap. And well, it turns out that I got tired because she was spiritually attacking me, especially my sacral chakra, so that she could manifest things such as money to pay for her roof and other parts of her house to be repaired. And I also think that she used my energy to manifest personal luxuries for herself, but she hid them away from me. And the times that we couldn't hang out and we would just talk on the phone, I firmly believe that these conversations were recorded for evidence for what was said. And uh, I know that Amy moved, and without a doubt, I think she siphoned off my energy so that she could manifest a new house, a new place to live. Okay, next one. Number 51. A-O. The name is April. She's got long black hair and a dark high priestess, and I think she worked in a group with Tammy, Amy, Audrey Beeson, and Dottie, and making sure that April had her foot on my neck with finances. I'm saying this because it didn't matter where I applied for a job, I never got the position. I mean, I got all kinds of interviews, but, never got a position. And what I thought was stupid, and that a lot of these establishments, they had advertising that they were hiring. But then, you go in and they're not hiring at that moment. Oh, what sense does that make? But I know that this was all black magic, man. Mental mind illusion, fucking energy manipulation, to trick me into trying to think that I could get a job somewhere. But no. So I know that they were fucking with me. And I also think that April had a voodoo doll of me and used it to cause me a lot of medical problems. So even if I had gotten hired for a position, I would be too sick to work. Da-da-da! Da-da-fucking-da. Number 52. ABM. Audrey Beeson. On her Facebook profile pic, it looks like she's got red hair, and she's sitting on the couch with her husband, named David. She's a very talented dark high priestess, and worked in the group with April and Tammy and Amy. And she was slick, okay, with how she was gonna curse me. She was a hidden enemy who paid attention to my social media accounts and took several pictures of me to see which ones she liked the best. So when she found the one that she liked the best, she stapled a picture of my face to the voodoo doll's face. Ugh. And of course, she put rolled up, and wads of cash on the doll. And it was pin needles. Pin needles that were stuck in there. Which meant cursing your money, cursing your money, cursing your money. Okay? And once again, she caused a lot of health problems. So once again, even if I had gotten offered a job, be too sick to work. Number 53. DM. David. He's married to Audrey. I think David cursed my money by putting a picture of me in a jar and stuffing it with money, along with all kinds of hot sauces, like Cajun hot sauce, Louisiana hot sauce, black pepper, and a variety of peppers in it. I mean, to the point where making it impossible to make money and shitting your brains out. If you were to really eat that crap, at least for me, shit my brains out. Okay, and I think he even used his own urine in the bitch, too. I know that plenty of people who piss and shit in spell jars when they're really trying to curse somebody. 54. MS Magali. This girl sent me a friend request on Instagram and I denied it because I didn't know her. But more importantly, she was wearing a hat that said Brujeria on it. And I immediately knew that that meant Hispanic black magic. And just to let you all know, I'm half Cuban, and so I was raised to know the difference between brujeria, which is black magic, And then you have Santeria, which is white magic. Well, as soon as I saw her picture, automatically just knew she was a dark witch, and then the brujeria, I mean, really just all gave it away. I mean, Jesus Christ. And I knew, just looking at it, I knew that she had been doing black magic on me for quite some time. Mm-hmm. So, regardless of the hat, when I saw the brujeria, anyway, I just said, hell no. Hell to the motherfucking no. And it was funny because just by looking at her picture, I got the sense that she works with a deity called Chango, which is also known as the god of war. And let me tell you, he is a very, very serious god that you don't want to fuck with as a joke. If you're gonna mess with him, you gotta be serious, and whatever you ask for and promise him, you better come through, because if not, he gonna fuck up your life in every way. And I know that that was her intention. I guarantee she worships Chango or some other hardcore deity like that. And she's gotta be strict with how she worships constantly, because that deity will fuck your shit up. And I know that she did it because she fucked my shit up. And also the friend request, was to try to get to know me as a friend, and then I'll relay the info back to the coven. 55! And what's funny is that when I was typing that number, I had accidentally typed 555, which is a number of change. Let me take a quick break. That's too funny. Buck. What was it? The Terminator? Buck. Some shit. Okay. 55. RM. The name is Raven. She's a dark high priestess and very skilled with the dark arts. Used a voodoo doll to curse my money and to close my third eye chakra by it was closing my eyes, and I mean sewing crosses of sewing crosses with red thread so that I wouldn't see. Okay, and I think she put a lot of money on the doll and used screws to keep the money in place. And like I just said, the intuition with the eyeballs. And then she put the doll on her altar. Number 56, LTS, Lisa Thompson. She has long blonde hair and worked in a group with other dark witches named Jackie, Lisa, and both of the Raymond women. Lisa used different tactics. The first one was a voodoo doll of me, just like how the other chicks did it. Okay, and she put a large amount of money on it, and then used both pin needles and screws to keep it attached, keep the cash attached, you know. And of course, spell jar too. Number 57, RBN, Raven Black. She worked with the other girls named Jackie, Lisa, and Raven, and all women did the same thing, really, with voodoo dolls and jar spells. 58, JF. The name is Jackie, but it's spelled so weird. JACQUI. So either it's Jackie or Jacqui, I'm not fucking sure. Once again, I was working with the Dark Witches and collaborated with using voodoo dolls and jar spells. 59, you have AK. The name is Anthony. He's dating Jackie, or he used to. Anthony worked by himself and made his own jar spell, but he used animal bones, especially of cats, and sulfur, along with graveyard dirt. And trigger warning, he did put his urine and his feces in it, and either put it in the freezer or buried it somewhere at a crossroads. That's nasty. Number 60, RM, Renee. She did the same things as Jackie and the two girls, Raven, and all the women named Lisa. Renee made a voodoo doll and stuck all kinds of crap on it and then put it on her altar. Number 61, LR, Lisa. She's mutual friends with Jackie, Lisa Thompson, April, Renee, and both of the women named Raven. This Lisa had a voodoo doll of me and used all kinds of shit so that the big amount of cash would stick. Alright? Sewed the eyes shut with, X's with red stitching to try to close up my intuition. But then she took it to another level. She went and got a wooden coffin box from what I could see in my mind and put the doll in the wooden coffin and screwed it shut and buried it somewhere. Could be in her yard or in a cemetery. 62, L.A. Lisa. Once again, she followed along with the other girls. Jackie, Renee, and the other Lisas, and both of the Raven women. Okay, but this Lisa took shit to another level with the doll too. And that she put her menstrual blood inside of the wooden coffin. She also got a wooden coffin, put the doll in there and her menstrual blood as well, and then screwed the bitch together. And then took it to a crossroads. And she had another voodoo doll that she placed on her altar and used some of her menstrual blood and put money towards her deity so that the magic would work faster. Because you gotta remember, guys, like I've said before, the two most powerful forms of magic, blood magic and sex magic. These people are batshit bananas. '63, PG. Pepper. She and I are only Facebook friends, but she's mutual friends with all the other girls that were involved in cursing my money. And whenever Pepper is on Facebook, she posts pictures of herself from her pole dancing workouts. You know, I think she was working with the women, but she was doing her magic more on her own behind the scenes. Alright, like voodoo doll with the picture of my face, okay? And the wads of cash, pin needles, and screws to really fuck you, screw you over. With your money. Let's see. I think she has a doll on her altar and put money on it as an offering to her deity. And a bottle of rum, because that's what he likes, and it's to help make the magic work faster. There you go. 2222. See, a lot of women. A lot of women involved with that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.